95 at the age of 14. After 17 years with chronic pain and endometriosis, she hit rock bottom and was forced to shift her perspective and lifestyle. Through acupuncture, chiropractic, and kinesiology, spirituality, honoring her body and listening to her body became a new way of life. Audrey now lives pain-free and symptom-free and teaches women how to reconnect and listen to their bodies.
Thank you, Meredith. So yes, I've been pain, symptom, and medication-free since 2012. And yeah, yay, right? Yeah, where's my yay sign? Yay! So what I'm talking about today are the lessons I've learned over the last 7 years of digging out of the hole I got myself into with endometriosis. And so I've learned a lot of things, and I want to talk about how listening to my body, honoring my body, essentially brought me to a place of healing. And I want to begin by reading a little bit out of my journal about, well, I'll just read it to you. So I wrote, my endo story starts where my endo ended. My story starts the day of my 4th laparoscopy surgery, as my surgeon told my husband and I there was no visible sign of endometriosis. My endo story started the day my specialist told me there's nothing more I can do for you. My endo story started the day I embraced my demons. I embraced that endo is in my heart, it's in my head, it's in my spirit, and it's in every single cell of my body. Endometriosis hurt me. Endometriosis hurt every single part of my being. Endo took me away from me. I didn't love me, I didn't love my body, I didn't love living my life. Now I know my endometriosis story has power. My story picks up where the doctors left off. My story starts where I discover me and I embrace me. I'm the only one with the power to shower myself with the unconditional love needed to dig myself out of the corner this disease put me in. So in 2008, after my surgery, like I said, my surgeon came in and told my husband and I there's no sign of endometriosis, which that was supposed to be the best day of my life, right? The day that I was told the endo tissue's gone, except for I was more depressed than ever. I walked in that door for surgery thinking, you know, I was in more pain than I'd ever been in my life, and I was gonna go have surgery, and it was gonna get rid of the endo tissue, and I was gonna be out of pain for a few years until we go do it again. That's what my history told me I do. And so here I was believing that I was gonna be pain-free walking out of there, and that's not what happened. And so I hit rock bottom. I mean, it was like, what do you do when everything you've ever done no longer works? And that alone sent me into depression, and I hit rock bottom in every sense of the word, both physically and emotionally. And so as I've put myself back together mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually over the last 7 years, I've learned a few things about myself and about my body that nobody inside of a doctor's office ever spoke about. The idea of whole body wellness was new to me. Healing my spirit, my mind, and my body was new. And so the things that Audrey and Meredith have talked about today, I absolutely love. And much of what they've been talking about, I've done over the years. So what I want to talk about is the idea that we have a physical body and we also have an emotional body. And when I think about my emotional body, I refer to it as this amoebic copy of my physical body and laid over top of it, okay? So we have a physical body and the emotional body. They're kind of one and the same, but they carry different feelings and they carry issues differently within our body. And so as we experience things, we collect experiences, both good and bad. And these experiences layer on both our physical body and our emotional body like an onion, right? So in our emotional body, these layers of negative experiences can manifest as pain. And I was so used to the physical body, my physical body, and the feeling of endometriosis that when it was gone, I couldn't understand why the pain remained. I didn't know the difference between my physical and my emotional body. Decades of endometriosis told me that any pain in my midsection must be endometriosis. So when I think about endometriosis in terms of the layers that it created, right? We've got the tissue, right? And then it layers on back pain and menstrual pain and digestive issues and bowel issues. We all know this list so well, right? We're all intimately aware of our list of physical issues when it comes to endometriosis. But what about your emotional body? What do the layers look like within your emotional body? For me, that's where the healing took place, when I started to question what's going on in my emotional body. And so, for me, and I mean everybody, you don't have to have endometriosis to be affected in this way. Any emotion that gets stuck in your body layers on and can manifest as pain. So this emotional pain lived in my emotional body, but my mind only knew one body. So like I said, the healing for me started when I understood the difference between what was going on in my physical body and my emotional body. I held any stress, any negative experience, I held in my emotional body right here, kind of a little bit right there. So I was sharing with this table that even though I'm pain and symptom free of endometriosis, I still experience pain on a different level. And so I'll get like back pain, just kind of right here. And I talk to it. I'm just like, what do we got going on? Because for me, it's my emotional body. It's my emotional body trying to tell me that something is a little bit off. And so I have identified four areas where emotional stress can come from. And I'm going to go over them quickly. I'm going to define them, and since we don't have a whole lot of time today, I'm just going to buzz through the four different areas, and then we're going to do a couple exercises. So first, emotional stress. Emotional stresses are any sort of reaction we have to daily challenges and tension. Outside stress is other people's opinions that really hurt us, or projected expectations from other people that they expect from us that might be hurtful. The next is negative thoughts and beliefs. And our own negative thoughts and beliefs are so deeply ingrained within us that we don't even know that they're there, and that we don't even know that we have these thoughts that I'm not good enough XYZ, I'm not a good enough wife, I'm not a good enough sister, I'm not a good enough daughter. Like, they're all in there, and sometimes they come out in, I'm not worth the money, like we were talking about earlier. That's totally something that it's a negative belief that's ingrained in our soul, and I had to get rid of those. And the last one is emotional trauma. And so this is either a distressing event or a series of severely distressing events. Okay, and so any of these experiences that affect us can get stuck in our emotional body. So the question becomes, how do we know if an experience got stuck in our body? How do we know if we experienced something and we didn't just move past it? If it got stuck, like I call mine sticky rib, he's right here. He likes to, when you turn and it just sticks, that's where it lives. And so I'm like, oh, sticky rib, dang. Oh, what are you trying to tell me? I know, I named him. Just like Mary did. Yeah, you gotta name him. Okay, so I want to do an exercise here to just kind of get reconnected to our body. So just like we did at the beginning of today, I want to take a deep breath and close our eyes. Feet flat on the floor, feeling your butt in the chair. So close your eyes for me, take a deep breath, big inhale, big exhale. want you to imagine snuggling with a cute kitty or a puppy, or maybe your nephew or your baby. Feeling and thinking about the joy and happiness within snuggling with this cute little being. And I want to switch your focus from your head to your heart to your body. How does it feel in your body right now to be joyously snuggling? See how your body feels. Can you feel the joy and happiness within your body? Does your body feel lighter? Maybe airy? Maybe a little bit softer? Whatever it feels like for you, I want you to hold this idea in your head and remember it. I want you to take a deep breath. And we're going to switch. So keeping your eyes closed, we're still breathing and connected with our body. Now I want you to think about being in a crowded subway car, being stuck on an elevator. Think about being late to the first day of your new job. Maybe getting a flat tire on the freeway. Can you feel the stress and anxiety of this situation? Do you feel tightness or tension in your body? Can you feel anger radiating in your body? Do you feel heavy? I want you to feel the difference between a positive experience and a negative experience in your body. The lightness versus the heaviness. And just remember what those two experiences felt like for you in your body. Okay, so before we open our eyes, this is important. We gotta get rid of this ickiness of being stuck on the freeway with a flat tire, okay? So think about shaking it off your body, just like, oh, like, get rid of it, okay? You can like rub your skin if you need to, get it off of you, get it off of you. My mom calls it swooshing. You guys swoosh that off you, just, oh. Okay, we want to make sure that's all gone. And then you can return to the idea of snuggling with your cute kitty or whatever you were snuggling with. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Could you feel the difference between something positive and negative in your body? Okay, you can apply this to everyday life. I do this every day. I wanted to share a story about my husband and I. So I work from home, and my husband's an 8 to 5er. And when he comes home from work, he walks in, comes back to the office, gives me a kiss, and then we talk about our day and talk about what we're going to do with our evening. Pretty normal stuff. And a while ago, I was just getting like so irritated, just so irritated. Like, oh, how dare you come home? Like, whoa! And I couldn't figure out like why my body was just like I was feeling that heaviness within me, right? And it makes no sense. Like, why would I be irritated that my husband was coming home, giving me a kiss, and just like, how dare you, right? And so I went within, I was just like, okay, I'm clearly irritated. I don't know why, and I'm a huge journaler, right? So I have books of this. And so I went to my journal and I just got curious. And I was like, okay, what's really going on? Like, why would you be so irritated that your husband's coming home from work, like, right? And so I wrote, and blah, 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 writing. And then I wrote something that stopped me in my tracks. And I wrote, how would he like it if I showed up at his office at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and was just like, you have to entertain me. You have to stop what you're doing right now and you have to entertain me. How would you feel about that? This is what I wrote. And I stopped in my tracks and I was just like, oh, I'm irritated because he interrupts my day. He interrupts when I choose, and I don't get to choose when my day is over, because it's when he comes home. And then it's just like, I'm supposed to abruptly stop what I'm doing. And as I journaled through it, I was like, I feel a loss of power around when my workday finishes. And so I was able to share this with him, and this is what's great about listening to your body, is just like understanding this irritation for me, and then having the courage to say it out loud, to tell my husband, I feel a loss of power around when my workday ends. And he was just like, oh, well, that's okay. I guess that's why you're so cranky. And was like, I'll just text you on my way home. And we live like 2 miles from his office from downtown Denver. And so he'll text me and be like, on my way. And, you know, he gets to transition from home life, from leaving the office when he chooses, and then transitions to home life on his little drive home. And then when he gets home, he's home. And I didn't have that. And so now he texts me, and when he gets home, he gives me a kiss, but then he goes back out and like gets the mail and piddles about in the kitchen or whatever, and allows me my 15 or 20 minutes to choose when I'm done working. And that was really powerful for me to like use my voice and be like, oh, I'm feeling irritated and here's why, and share it in a way that wasn't just like, God, like, can you just like leave me alone for like 2 minutes? And so I realized this comes off as like a relational issue, and you may be wondering, what the heck does this have to do with endometriosis? But discovering your stress and your irritation has everything to do with chronic pain, and discovering what's under there. And like I said, it's usually some sort of loss of power, I don't feel good enough, some like deep-seated thing that you just have to understand for yourself, and then just be like, oh. And I swear to God, as soon as I just acknowledge that for myself, I'm just like, oh, well that's it? All right, cool. Just text me on your way home. So, let's see, what else do I want to say? So the shift in my perspective and being able to share my truth was huge. And just layer after layer after layer of shifting my perspective and growing closer to me and my truth has been a huge part of my healing. Okay, so I want to do one other quick exercise. So if you have a journal or these pieces of paper that are laying down, I want you to write what stresses me out the most is. So you might have one thing, you might have 10. Whatever you come up with is cool. What stresses me out the most is, and while you're writing, I'm going to share another quick story. So this has to do with my mom and I, and she totally knows the story. It was years ago now. I'm going to say like mid-20s. I haven't lived in Norfolk, Nebraska, where I grew up since I went to college. So, you know, my mom would call, and while I was still going through endometriosis, when she would call, she would ask, how are you feeling? It's an innocent question, right? How are you feeling? How do you feel today versus yesterday? What medication have you taken? Just all these questions, like, have you been sleeping? Are you doing this? Are you doing that? And it pissed me off. It pissed me off a lot. I didn't want to talk about it. I didn't want to be reminded that I felt like hell. I felt like hell yesterday. I feel like hell today. I'm going to feel like hell tomorrow. I'm going to talk about it. And I handled this very, very poorly years ago. I blew up at her and was just like, stop freaking asking me. Like, oh my God, can we talk about something else, right? And looking back now, the question I want you to ask yourself about your stress that you just wrote down is, if I really wanted to, I could. So the idea here is to shift your perspective from whatever your stress is. So my stress was my mom calling me and asking me how I was doing. And so if I really wanted to, I could ask my mom to stop asking me how I'm feeling, right? And so it shifts the power back to me. If I really wanted to, I could talk to my mom and ask her to stop asking me that question. So looking back, I could have done this a little bit better. I could have said, you know, Mom, I know that you're asking because you care, and thank you for that. But for me, it creates huge anxiety. Every time I knew that, oh, Mom's gonna call today, or I see her number on my phone, I would just get this like, oh, I don't want to talk about it. This is like anxiety and just anger, right? And so I could have said, Mom, I know you love me and I know you want to know how I'm feeling, but for me, it doesn't come across that way. For me, it brings up how crappy I've been feeling. And, you know, moving forward, is it possible if we don't talk about how I'm feeling unless I bring it up? Because then, again, it returns the power to me, and I get to talk about how I feel when I choose. And, you know, that was the end result, is that we talk about how I feel when I'm ready. But again, the relational issue between us was like, I blew up in her face instead of like arriving at it at a way that was much more loving. So, does anybody want to share their stress and